My first introduction to music was, I was about 4 or 5 years old. It's probably one of the earliest memories that I have. And I was in San Antonio, Texas, visiting my father's father, my grandfather that lived there. And when he was a child, he was probably, I think, 12 or 13 years old, he built his first guitar. He built his own guitar. And he started playing, and it became a passion of his through his whole life. So when we went to visit him, he pulled it out for us and would play like some old country songs on it and let me kind of sit in that room and just kind of hold that guitar and mess around. I had no idea what I was doing, but he kind of let me mess around with it for a little while. And it kind of started a passion in me, not just specifically for guitar, but for music in general. And I didn't necessarily come from a musical family. My father sang, but no one else in my immediate family played any musical instruments. So it was kind of a me thing. I was kind of the first person in my immediate family to take that on. And I should be thankful to my parents because they never told me no. When I wanted to try an instrument, they always made it happen. So for the longest time, I played violin, I played piano, I played saxophone for a couple weeks, I think. Every time I wanted something or I wanted to try something, they would give me the opportunity to do it, which I think was a wonderful blessing in my life. And I can always remember growing up that they always told me violin would be the instrument that led to me making money or being successful in music. And I would constantly argue back that, no, it wasn't. Guitar was going to be it. And so guitar was always kind of like my rebellious instrument in that I had to practice violin. I had to go to symphony practice. I had to go do this. And guitar was something I could sit in my bedroom and just kind of, learn a Beatles song or a Led Zeppelin song on and skip violin practice. This was for me. This was my thing. For guitar, the first person I ever latched onto, I think, was Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin. I think my mom bought me a concert box set of DVDs that she bought me. And it was like, I was watching it and I was like, man, these guys are rock stars. I want to grow up and I want to be a rock star. So I started, figuring out Led Zeppelin songs, and that was probably the first guitar player I latched onto that became like a guitar hero for me. Just like a lot of other guitar players or a lot of other people who influenced me, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, John Mayer is a great guitar player who I stole a lot of stuff from. But also George Harrison from the Beatles always played musically and for the song, or at least I felt he did, and so that really attracted me to his playing. I started touring when I was still living in Shreveport, and Nashville was always an option for me. I always, I knew people who had moved to Nashville and moved home, or moved to Nashville and stayed, and I had friends that moved to LA and were successful, friends that moved to LA and who weren't, and same with Nashville. Nashville is a lot of very, very talented people move here every day, and they all want it just as bad as everybody else. It just seemed like my options there were more of them here. I knew more people here. I could get a hold of more people here. So, but yeah, Nashville was always an option. Nashville was always one of the places you could go and make a living doing what you loved. As far as touring goes, I've been with Jana Kramer for the last couple of years. Before that, I was with Neil McCoy for a couple of years. I feel like Neil was the first gig I had where it was like a steady, all right, we're going to be gone for the majority of this year. Pack your bags. The rest of it was always kind of like, well, we have 3 shows this weekend and then a month off, or we'll be gone for 2 weeks and then your time off, or 2 months and then you have time off, which is still nice, but you still always had to find something else when you came home. Paying my bills and touring in general probably for the last 7, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's honestly a blessing. I got introduced to Mcpherson Guitars when I first started working with Neil McCoy 4 years ago. I believe he's been with Mcpherson, or the band has been with Mcpherson for years. I mean, it's got to be at least 10 years, I guess. Everybody in that band has one, previously or currently. They all have them. And when I got the gig, I had another guitar that was, it wasn't it wasn't bad or anything, but I would always look at the other guitars on stage and just kind of drool over them a little bit. They're gorgeous guitars. You can look at them and see that they're really pretty guitars, but there's a whole lot more to them than that. I don't think I've known anybody to pick up any Mcpherson and just not be in awe of the craftsmanship. But I got introduced through that and just immediately fell in love with them. And we were in a situation one time where it was very cold, and the guitar that I had that was not a Mcpherson, because of the weather, had become damaged. And everyone else's guitar, which were Mcphersons, did not become damaged. So that was, I think, the final straw for me that I had to get one. I can still remember the first time I played my Mcpherson. There isn't a whole lot like it in that it's a guitar that you just want to play. You want to pick it up. You want to play it. You want to write songs on it. It just sounds so good. I wish I had these words to describe it, but they would mean different things for everybody else. I could say, it's real even, or it's real, the low end or that, but it's just a pretty guitar. And the great thing about them is not just the guitar, it's the company. The people are involved are wonderful people. They are truly a family. When you become a part of the Mcpherson family, you're really a part of a family. They always remember you and know who you are and care about what you're doing. So it's been a really great experience. I tour with this guitar 150 days a year at least, and it is not only a tank, it's the only guitar on the road that I know I don't have to worry about, because it's just a tank. But on top of all that, it sounds gorgeous. It plays amazingly well. For people who don't even play guitar or know much about acoustic guitar, I could play it for them and they would immediately notice the difference between this guitar or another acoustic guitar. And I'm thankful for the fact that I got introduced to them, and I'm very thankful for the fact that I'm a part of the Mcpherson family.